guys, and welcome to the Candidly CREW podcast. I'm your host, Chesley White.
And I'm your co-host, Marina Register. Chesley.
Yes, Marina?
We're trying to add some discussion at the beginning, and I just really would like to bring up that you lost a pitching wedge this weekend.
Yes, thanks for rubbing it in. For those of you who don't know, Marina and I are now, we're trying to learn how to play golf.
We're more than trying. We're really getting there.
Yeah, we're getting serious about it. We're taking lessons. You have for a long time. I'm just starting to. But we went out and played this weekend, and then I realized on hole 5 that I did not have my pitching wedge. So
the amount of people we ran back to ask, hey, did you find a pitching wedge on hole 1? I think someone stole it, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too, because otherwise I think it would have been found. But anyway, so now I'm going to have to get a new pitching wedge, and it will be the one unique club in my bag, which will give me OCD, but I'll get over it.
It will. So anyway, if anyone has any recs for a good pitching wedge, please, comment, subscribe.
Let us know. But anyway, so back to the show. I'm really excited today. We have a really great guest with us. We have Christina Moir, who is principal and owner of Sage Point Valuations, which is a commercial real estate appraisal company, and she's also a crew member. And so I'm just really excited to talk to her today about her career and how she got where she is and what she's up to. So you ready to bring her in?
I'm ready. Let's bring her in. Christina, here you are.
Hi there. Thanks for having me. Gosh, my golf clubs are kind of dusty at the moment.
Oh, do you have a pitching wedge?
Not for you. I'm keeping my own set.
She likes to keep them in a set too, so a little OCD.
Yes, exactly. So tell us your story about how you got into commercial real estate appraisals and just how you got started.
Okay, so I got started appraising because I was watching a late night show. This is in Alaska. I lived in Alaska at the time.
Wow.
And I saw a show that said you can fix and flip really easily, and it was really easy. You make a ton of money, and it's fast, and you don't even have to know how to do it. So I said, this is great. So
I love that.
I went and bought a single-family house. This is in Anchorage, and found out that I paid too much for it, but I still was so excited about the project. I was still going to do it. And then I renovated it, put it all on my credit card, and then it didn't sell.
That's shocking.
And I didn't know how to value it at the end. And in the very end, I was going to sell it by myself. I had to hire a realtor, pay the 6% commission, and I ended up losing money on that fix and flip, easy gig.
Which is supposed to be guaranteed money, right?
We're supposed to be guaranteed money. That's what the TV said.
Yeah.
But the very last day, there was an appraiser there. She came in, a residential appraiser, and she said, this is what the process is, and I'm going to value the property. And I was like, wow, this is great. And she gets paid no matter what. The deal goes through, the deal doesn't go through. How do you know what the value is of a property? That was my whole issue. I had no idea how much to buy it for, and I had no idea how much to renovate it for or how much to sell it for.
Makes sense.
Key issues.
Yes, absolutely.
So I was like, wow, I'm going to become an appraiser. I'm going to learn how to appraise so that I know how to buy and how to sell.
Yeah.
That was my whole thing. So while I may have lost $2,000 on that, you can't lose deal.
Yeah.
I got a great entry into being an appraiser.
Yeah, school of hard knocks, right?
Yeah.
I am so curious how you got from Alaska to Greenville, South Carolina, though.
Yeah.
Well, Alaska was a great adventure. It's been one of the most beautiful places I've lived, but Greenville is close to my sister and brother. So, and my mom. So family reasons.
Okay. Well,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
So you decide that right then you want to get into appraising. What do you do next?
So then I called all around to all of the appraisers that happened to be in Alaska. And I started in the phone book, the old school way. Nice. And I started with A and started calling until I got to B, C, D, until I got to W. And W, that person finally hired me.
Really?
Yes. And so I had to take some classes. There was 3 classes I had to take. At the time, I had to fly to California to get to them.
Oh, interesting.
It's much easier in South Carolina. You could take them here or online.
So there was nothing in Alaska?
No.
Wow. Okay.
And I decided to go only commercial. My
Okay.
background, I have an MBA, so it just seemed like a better fit for me to go commercial. And ever since, I started off with appraising a hotel in Alaska and apartment complexes and oil fields and crazy stuff. So I guess I didn't start the normal path, but
I
So
love that.
how do you know what something is worth? That's the whole bottom line of real estate. What is it worth? And that's
right.
what I have, used my career trying to determine. And so that's what I do.
Right.
What's it worth?
Yeah. Okay. So you own your own company, principal and owner. So how long have you owned your company? And like, kind of walk us through like maybe a semi-normal day in like an appraiser's life.
Okay, let's
In
see.
South Carolina, not Alaska.
Here, right. Yes. So 2008, I opened up my own company with a couple partners, and it just seemed like a natural fit for me.
Mm-hmm.
I like to kind of set my own course. So that's what I did. And it's been great ever since. And a normal day is varied. That's what I like about the field. It's sometimes I'm behind my laptop, sometimes I'm doing research, but then I'm out in the field measuring properties and talking to owners about what their big compelling vision is. What are they working on? What's their dream, or what went wrong, or what were they thinking, and what are they thinking now? What do they think it's valued at? How much do they want for it? All the questions. So
yeah. How much do you feel like I'm truly just curious, like personal bias comes in when you're appraising things? Like how much of it do you feel like is like, for me, like hard numbers, and how much is like, I'm estimating this because there's nothing like this, or this is like partially done, so how am I supposed to tell you how much it's worth when it's fully done, kind of thing?
That's a great question. It depends on the property type. So if I'm going into something super unique, it's a lot of my own personal opinions. Like I have a specialty of doing summer camps and mountain hospitality properties. So I have a lot of background in that, but a lot of that is feeling. How does the property look? Does it look like something that, like, would I want to send my kid to that summer camp? Would I want to go visit the B&B, or is it actually kind of not attractive? And then there's always all the numbers that come behind it. Like an income producing property, it's much easier when there's numbers. But say there's a property that people have used as a hobby, and they really haven't wanted to maximize revenues. What do you do then? So it's like looking at each and every scenario and applying subjectivity. But what would the market say? I always say, what is the market saying about this?
Right.
What would other people say? What are my peers thinking? How would they approach it?
And then I guess, for those comps, are you pulling, like you're saying, say you go to a hotel and it's not the best hotel, and you're like, I don't know if I would want to stay here. And so like when you pull comps to kind of justify your value, are you also looking at like photos of a comparable hotel that kind of is in that same state? So you can say, well, this one's, proven to be worth this, and it's kind of equivalent. Like how do you subjectively prove a value, if that makes sense, what I'm asking?
Yes, I look at, for every different property type, I try to think about what the end user is thinking. If it's a client or a borrower or whoever it is that's involved in that type of asset, what are they looking for? So if it's a medical office, is there a nice racetrack where people can easily check in and check out? Does it flow? Is there wood paneling? Are there restrooms where there should be restrooms? And I've been to so many different properties, and I subscribe to so many different data sources that I've seen them before. I kind of, I've been to a medical office.
Right.
I know what they should look like, and when they don't, then it's like, this is awkward. If something is awkward, then it comes through in the like it's applying common sense, ruthless common sense.
Yeah,
I like that, ruthless common sense. I feel like that's half of my job too, occasionally. I am curious. So it sounds like you are still very much like, someone comes, they want an appraisal, you're the one going out, you're doing it. Are there any like staff people under you? Can you delegate? Are you training anyone behind you? What does that look like in your job and in your firm?
I've have a couple senior appraisers now that have been with me for like a long time. And I have an apprentice who's been with me for about 3 years. And in our field, this profession, it's still the old apprentice profession. So
really,
you still have to, as a commercial appraiser, you have to work for somebody else for 30 months. So 2.5 years. Okay. You have to take a bunch of education. And I've trained a number of apprentices, maybe 10 or something. And then the idea is that they can go out and do this career on their own or with somebody else or on their own. Yeah. So I have a staff. I've had a big staff before. I've had smaller staff.
What do you prefer? in terms of
That's
size?
a good question.
I'm kind of good with where I'm at now.
A little bit less to manage and worry about.
It's a challenge bringing on new people because then it's still my license that I sign off on everything. So it's hard to expand beyond that. And in terms of the roles I do, I like to do a lot of them. I don't have enough time to do all of them, so I've really had to cut back. But the parts, there's the fun parts, the property inspection and talking to the borrowers. That's like super fun.
Yeah. And I mean, as an investor as well, you get to see what other people are doing. And I'm sure you could like put that hat on too and like, oh, well, that's a really good idea. Like maybe I should think about this, if you're purchasing property on the side or anything like that.
It's definitely helped because I do have some property on the side. It's definitely helped. I have a multi-tenant retail and office. And how are those properties looking? How are they financially performing?
Yeah.
Where's the gaps? And I comply my commercial appraisal business for sure to managing an office, a retail, a warehouse, multifamily, single family, any of those. I get it because I've appraised it or I manage it or own it.
That's right.
So.
Yeah. And I got to ask, I'm guessing those second purchases you have not put on a credit card.
I've kind of moved beyond the credit card.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Well, cool. What would you say is your most rewarding part about your job? Like, what's your favorite thing about it?
It's really helping the end borrower who is looking to finance something or buy something. Should they buy this? And I've certainly saved people from buying a calamity where they're so passionate and involved. And it was like my first purchase where it was like, oh, I love this property. It is the best. And I'm going to completely overpay for it. Instead, I let them know, okay, this is the reality. This is what it's actually worth. And if you want to go beyond and pay more, you can, but just know that the market doesn't see it that way.
Yeah.
That's an invaluable perspective to have. And since I take a market perspective for my commercial appraising, I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not working for the buyer or the seller or the owner. I'm usually working for an intermediary like a bank or some third party. So I'm just going to tell them like it is.
Yeah. Right. Like you're just giving them the data that they need to make whatever decision they're going to make.
Right.
They can loan however much they want to loan or borrow or how much they want to borrow or sell
it's just
for
like,
how much.
Here's the facts, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Here's the facts. And isn't it nice and helpful and comforting to know that there's somebody out there that is going to give you the straight deal? They're not,
I love that. That's awesome.
This is the deal. This is what it's worth.
Right. Yeah. It's like you're only adding value to the situation because you're just bringing good, hard data and facts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love facts.
So, of course you do. So what would you say on that same note is the most challenging part about your job?
Right now, I would say getting it all done. There's so much volume right now that in every aspect of commercial real estate that everybody is busy. We could all be working as much as possible.
I would echo that. Yeah.
Like, I could keep 10 of me occupied.
Yep. It's a good problem to have. You just have to figure out different ways to solve it, basically.
Right. Well, you just have to figure out cloning because I also would like 10 of me. Yeah. I'm sure
that would be so nice. Oh my gosh.
Imagine the golf we could have.
Seriously. That's my ultimate goal is, just have everyone else do the work so we'll go off.
That's perfect.
Right? I mean,
early retirement, basically.
Definitely clone one of me for just fun purposes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what would you say your career trajectory has been? Has it been just like a steady climb up or like, I know you started working for someone else initially and then eventually you owned your own company. Was it a lot of ups and then downs or sideways or how would you describe your career trajectory?
I think overall, I define success as being a whole person. Like I pursue full round balanced life. Yes, so I'm going to focus on my health, my mental acuity, my friendships, my personal life, my 2 kids, all of those things that I'm really passionate about and my career. So I want to do it all and I think that I can do it all. It just has to be balanced.
Yeah.
That's always the key. So sometimes there's been seasons of my life that I am all in for kids. Yeah. And like my career had to take a step back. Mm-hmm. But then there's other seasons where I'm like all in for career and then I take, the trajectory escalates. And there's other times, other seasons, it's an ebb and flow.
Yeah.
So I would say sometimes it advances fast, and other times it's a river.
Yeah.
And that's all success.
I feel like Kimberly said the same thing. We had Kimberly Bailey on last time, and she was saying the same kind of thing. Like she had to learn that sometimes like certain things have to take a backseat to balance out the thing that you need to be focusing on at the time. And I think it's such a good perspective, especially someone that's younger in the field as I look forward, because it feels like my trajectory should always be straight up, right? It should always be a diagonal. And it's okay to sometimes say like, hey, there's other things that are important in life. And so I really appreciate that perspective that you've given us.
Absolutely. Just keeps in perspective what's important. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So, have you ever had any unique growth opportunities presented in your field? Like, someone came to you and said, hey, I want you to do this, or, what do you think about this opportunity? And, it was just maybe different or not something that you were used to.
I think I've had several of those in different areas.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of like technical appraising, I was an apprentice in appraising oil fields. That's kind of crazy. And like a 20-story hotel. And then I moved to South Carolina and I'm appraising a 120-unit Tanger outlet. It's, how do I know how to do that? I don't know. I'm going to figure it out though.
Ruthless common sense, that's how.
Exactly. I'm going to apply everything else I know, and I'm going to ask, and I'm going to figure it out. So,
well, how do you figure out how to do that? I mean, do you have to just study other properties of that type, or okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, so that's in terms of the technical part. There's a way, there's a path, there's a system for how to do everything, and if I don't know, then I'm going to ask somebody.
Is there, to that point, like, I know that you said there's other principals that you have at the company, but is there like a guild situation for appraisers where you're like, I've never done this, no one else I've seen has done this? Like, where do you go to ask other questions?
There's definitely, I'm part of the Appraisal Institute. So I am an MAI, which used to stand for a member of the Appraisal Institute. It no longer has those actual words, but that's the highest designation you can get in my field of appraising. But so there's a whole field of appraisers out there, commercial appraisers, and since I'm in this higher designation, I can reach out to any of those. And I'm on the board, the state board for South Carolina, have been for years. So other things to challenge myself would definitely be to be on other boards, professional boards. That's what I would say people should do, whatever their profession is. Mm-hmm. Sign up for those guilds or the boards or whatever and become an active member or leadership. Yeah.
I do think it helps like challenge the status quo of things, of like how you normally do things, to have more people in the room and to usually be, especially in the accounting field, you're obviously like fighting about standards and what should happen and what shouldn't happen. And so I feel like even if nothing comes, even if we don't change anything, we've at least had like the theory or the discussion behind it. And I feel like that helps grow who you are as a person, but also the profession in a way.
Absolutely.
Do you have a mentor? And if you do, what is that relationship like and kind of how it came to be?
I have to point out that Christina was my first mentor in CREW. Yeah, I had to take this opportunity. She was my CREW buddy.
Okay, so any success that I see in Chesley is because of you.
It's all from me. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Yeah. Good to know. Great job. You've done great.
Thank you.
Well, she was actually the one that when we were talking about starting Shelter, and I was thinking about leaving my company at the time, she was encouraging me to do that. And, why not? You only have one life. And, if this is something you're really interested in, go for it. What do you have to lose? I'm an employable person. You could always fall back on another job if I fall flat on my face.
And you always have a credit card, so.
That's right. That's right.
What can you do?
So, anyway, a little aside, Christina was an awesome mentor for me. So.
I think that I've probably had informal mentors along the way. Mm-hmm. Nothing formal like we have set up here, but I've had other people reach out to me and help me, and mostly by asking good questions. Mm-hmm. It's the quality of the questions that we ask ourselves and others.
Really good.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. So while I haven't had any formal mentors, I would say like even people from YouTube, ironic, it's like those are the kind of people that continue to inspire me and give me energy and reflect back for where I'm going with my vision, my compelling vision for the future, what I'm creating. And then turning it over, I'm really pretty passionate about helping other people and bringing them along and seeing their careers rise. And it's so easy to lean out and say no and not be involved. Yeah. And it's scary to lean in.
It really is.
And sometimes it's helpful to have a little push and just have somebody to talk to about it, because it's easy. Friends, sometimes you'll only talk about friend stuff, but a mentor, you talk about where are you going? Where do you want to go?
Right.
What are you excited about?
It's
what
true.
What fires you up?
I feel like having someone just to kind of voice maybe even a question you might have had for yourself, but when someone else asked it to you, you're like, okay, as I'm answering this question, I'm understanding a lot more about myself.
Right.
As I speak it out loud to you. So it is the questions that really do help make a mentor relationship work.
Right. It's like challenging that thought process, basically. Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about goals, do you have any specific, either personal or professional, like 5-10-year goals as far as like what you think that should look like for you or your company?
I have a lot of goals in terms of being a whole person. So I have goals in like health, mental areas, social perspectives, and my goals for my kids. And I want to be an incredible role model for them and show them what the possibility is of life. And then for the career, I have goals for appraising, but I also have goals for investing.
Yeah.
So
what
think
are
that
they? Do you feel comfortable sharing?
Well, for me, since, I'm a commercial person, I am going to continue investing in commercial properties and residential. I don't feel like I have to do one or the other. Like I want to be multifaceted.
You're a whole person, so.
I am. I want to do it all. I don't want to just focus. I'm not a focus on one area. I want it all. I want to focus on several areas.
I love that. I mean, you could look back on your career later in your life and just say, I did it all. Like, I had a family, I had an awesome career, I had fun, I had good friends. I love that well-rounded approach to everything. I feel like sometimes we could get siloed and like trying to get the next step in our career and trying to also make our clients happy, like just working like so hard. But it's nice to kind of like step back and have that perspective. I really love that.
How old are your kids? Can I ask?
Well, my older son just graduated from USC,
That's
so
exciting.
22, and then one at Clemson at 20. So
nice.
They're both doing great, and they're on their own path.
And I have to say, like, as you could talk about, like, mental acuity, which I think is really important, are there any things that you do that you're like, this is just something that I've done that I think helps keep my mind sharp?
I think the ability to focus. Setting aside the cell phone or the distractions and that moment of focus, however, and testing yourself for how long you can actually have that focus, because I think we're so distracted now.
It's true.
That the ability to have that higher level of thinking when you need it.
Are there tricks that you do that help you focus?
I do. It's an intentionality, setting the intention. Sometimes I even like set a timer, like, okay, I'm not going to get out of this chair for 40 minutes. So 40-minute session for me is great if when you have those moments where you really need to do deep thinking. They call it deep work.
Right. Have you read that book?
I skimmed part of it.
Yeah. It's on my list.
Unnecessary to read the whole book.
Well,
read the key points.
Okay, good to know.
She'll get the Spark Notes version. I'll also get it if I need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so interesting. Yeah, I love that.
So what would you say to someone that's looking to enter this field in terms of like advice? Like what's the most important thing that you would tell them to do? I know that you have to ask the question of like, where do you want to be for that person? But, just in general, like any career advice you have for them? I
would say think about what kind of lifestyle you want, because real estate can be a good for a well-balanced life. It's easy to work a lot. And if you're that kind of person that wants to work a lot, then that's available. So really, what are your intentions going into a career and making sure that people are asking questions? What does it look like? What does a typical day look like? What are my responsibilities? How much self-direction do I have to have? Do I have to be a writer? Do I have to be able to do analysis?
Yeah.
Good question.
How much Excel am I going to be doing? How much Word?
And am I good at those things?
Am I good at doing research?
Yes.
Am I good at talking to people? Am I not good at talking to people?
Yeah.
Do I want to go into an office or not?
So really like self-reflection on where you think you want to head.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And isn't that true for every career? Like, are you an analyzer person, or are you really like more of a, talker, collaborator?
Oh, on that note, I have to ask you, would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Extrovert.
Really?
So you like the talking?
Yeah.
I like the interaction.
Well, I mean, she said at the beginning that site visits and talking with the owners
that's true.
is your favorite part, which it's true. Like, I'm sure there are people that don't enjoy that part, but really enjoy the review, the analysis.
Yeah, and the more office side of things, which, would work well if you guys paired together anyway. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Marina?
Oh, I'm an extrovert. My favorite part of my job is not, I love Excel, but I love talking to my clients. I love developing my staff. Honestly, the staff development piece of my job is maybe my favorite part. So I told them what I liked about my job, and they're like, sounds like you just like chatting. And I was like, well, you know what? A lot can happen when you're chatting.
Right. You can learn a lot for sure.
And what about you, Chesley?
Yeah, I think I'm an extrovert as well. I just really enjoy the business development aspect of my job, and like even like networking and going to crew events. Like I leave crew events, and granted, like you guys are some of my best friends in crew, so but I leave crew events like feeling so energized. Like, oh my God, that was so much fun. Now I'm gonna follow up on this and this, and it's great. So,
but crew events are still fun, even if you're an introvert.
Yes,
make it
very
fun
true.
for
Very true. Very true. Good point. Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, speaking of crew, to wrap this up, how has crew helped you?
I think the very first meeting that I went to, I was sitting at a round table, and the person to my right was an attorney. And so she closed my my office loan.
Nice.
6 weeks later.
Nice.
I've used brokers within crew, insurance people within crew. So I think that having a well-rounded crew is very helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Super helpful to be able to, and even just to walk into rooms and know people. At whatever event I'm going to, super helpful.
Agreed. Just kind of takes the edge off. Makes it a little bit easier just to
enter those circles, you're like, hey, friend of mine. Let me enter your circle.
Yes.
One thing, gosh, I feel like I'm plugging crew today, hardcore.
We're supposed to be, right? It's a crew
but one
podcast.
thing I really love is, and you started this too when we first started meeting when we were crew buddies, but it's at the end of like our, coffee session or whatever it was, just like talking, it was like, what can I do to help you? And I've never been a part of an organization that question was asked. It's usually just like, okay, thanks, bye. But, this was like, you weren't the only person. It was seriously like 2 or 3 people. Like, what can I do to help? And then like followed up on that. And I just thought that was super cool. Like, just to be thinking about other people. And the true point of the organization was to, promote other women and help them succeed in commercial real estate. So, I don't know, thought that was awesome.
That is a big part of it. And I would really love to see, for us going forward, I would love to see an expansion of everybody's skill sets. So, I want to encourage everybody within their own fields to be the best and be passionate about it and excel and join their boards, their respective boards, and level up and play at a higher level. I'd love to see all of us, like a larger number of people, be on the senior management, ownership, senior work on the bigger projects, the harder projects, the ones that are more lucrative.
Yeah,
I would love to
we
see.
could do it.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
The skill set is there. It's just like grabbing it and taking that challenge and knowing that we can do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have the skill sets.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
But keep leveling up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. All right, do you want to
So
enter our rapid fire? Yeah.
So we have our rapid fire fun questions because this interview has been super not fun up until now. So Chesley, would you like to start us off?
Yes. So what do you like to do for fun?
I love to ski.
Where have you skied most recently?
Aspen. I love skiing. I love to go to new places all the time and challenge my kids.
So your kids go with you as well?
Yes, and I'm...
Are you still a better skier than your kids?
No, they've surpassed me. But I'm pretty good.
Okay.
What's your favorite place to ski? I know you just went to Aspen recently.
Aspen is recently my favorite.
It's your favorite
but
too,
I love
okay.
Vail and
Okay,
All
so
right,
you
you
go.
add it to my
Snowbird,
list.
and I could come up with a list of awesome places.
I like to go sit in lodges, and I have a bad knee, so I've told myself that I can't ski, but maybe I need to level up, honestly.
That's, you know, get rid of that negative self-talk. That's right.
All right, well, what is your favorite place to travel in general? It might be the same spots, but...
My favorite place to travel is the next place.
Oh,
look at her.
You're so
look
clever.
at her. She's so
I am
clever.
so excited about the next places. I've had so many incredible experiences.
Okay, we'll have to talk about travel next time I see
Yes.
you at a crew event.
What is there a favorite type, or are you just willing to accept it all? Like, are you thinking like beach, mountain, city? Like,
I love to be active on a vacation, so
Yeah.
I like to walk. But I had a tremendous time in Hong Kong.
oh,
Loved Hong Kong and Israel. On the complete opposite side was spectacular for its history and touching the Jordan River. That was
I'm
an
sure that's
incredible
Wow,
I've
moment.
had friends that have gone and have loved Israel, so...
well, what is your favorite business-related book, or if you don't have one, your favorite book in general?
I would say Jonathan Livingston Seagull is actually one of my favorite books.
Is he an architect?
Yeah, he I don't know. Jonathan Livingston Seagull, I think, is by Richard Bach. And it really talks about like how to soar as an individual,
Okay.
how to not look at who your companions are, but kind of rise above them, challenge yourself.
Nice.
Yeah, love that.
And The Alchemist, that was a great book too. Love
I
that
haven't
book.
read that one either.
We need to start...
Mental
we're gonna-
notes. Yeah.
Yes.
Put it in the show notes.
What TV show are you binge watching right now?
I am not right now watching any, but I finished The Queen's Gambit. I loved that one.
I've heard good things.
It was
I have not
was
seen that one.
fun.
It was fun.
Okay.
I liked it.
Did binge that. That
Okay.
was fun.
How long did it take you to binge it?
Oh, probably 3 weeks.
Okay.
Just because it was fun. I wanted to
You wanted to
spread-
experience it.
Yeah.
spread it out.
I've gotten that way with shows. I watched a whole show yesterday, so can't relate.
When you were supposed to be doing what?
Either working or cleaning my apartment.
Yeah, it's okay.
Ted Lasso was really
Happens
good.
to us all. Happens
Would
to us all.
recommend it.
All right, last question.
And
What-
the best one, really.
Oh yes, best question. That's right. I was like, what? Are you saying that Ted
No,
Lasso
no.
was the best
No,
show?
no, no. I mean,
Okay,
this is
the
my
best
favorite question.
All right, what is your favorite restaurant in Greenville or the Upstate area, and what do you get there?
I like the kitchen sink.
I'm going
Good
there on
one.
Friday. I'm so excited.
I just love
Yeah.
their salads and I like their popovers.
Oh yeah,
salads.
they
Okay.
have really good
I just
burgers
like
too.
it. And it's an independent and
Yeah, it
that's
is.
all good stuff.
It's a nice little spot. I like it
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah,
Nice.
perfect.
Good answer.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to come on to our podcast and talk to us a little bit about your career and about appraising and commercial real estate in general.
I feel like I learned a lot about you and
Yeah.
actually about appraising. So
Who knew?
and I don't know if I knew that you were from Alaska.
Well, originally I'm from California.
Okay.
I
so
just,
you're in
did a
Alaska.
little
That's true,
sojourn in
Alaska.
Alaska for 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years is quite a sojourn. Okay. So spending 10 years in Alaska is still that's a fun fact.
And surviving the daylight shortages
I
and
know.
extra, I don't know.
It
the
was
opposite
pretty
of
cool.
shortage.
the shortage is where it's just day all the time, which I was in Alaska this last summer when it
Oh.
was I was actually counseling at a camp for teens. And so trying to get teenagers to bed when the sun's still out, it's real hard.
It is hard.
It's real hard. So,
Yeah. And to do that for 10 years. Whew. Yeah.
but
You can do pretty much anything now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there
Exactly.
sky's the limit.
Bring it on.
you go. Yeah.
Bring it.
Well, cool. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate it. I know our guests are really going to appreciate it as well.